Good morning, everyone. All right, I'm going to review very quickly because I don't have a lot of time today, and today was only two trades. Going to very quickly review this morning's trades. Now, yes, this is the correct date. Obviously, we're still in an uptrend. I'm bullish for all-time highs on both ES and NQ. ES is all the way up here. NQ's all-time highs are up here. However, as far as this morning's pre-market analysis goes, I was actually leaning mildly bearish. Um, the market has made higher highs. Seems like it's dumping. May want to head towards demand. So, like usual, the first thing I do is plot the nearest pivots. There we go. There you go. So my pre-market analysis, as you can see, is slightly bearish to at least the near my closest pivots. Right, I have a very nice pivot set up on NQ, two pivots right next to each other. Now you do have to cut through demand to get to them. And then I have that pivot there on ES. So that's my analysis at the beginning. Now the problem is before market open, this formation happens. I can enter puts on this formation. This is really the only time I can enter puts because this is when the risk to reward makes sense. As you can see, I'm still above 1-1 risk to reward. Stop loss roughly here. However, if the market opens bearish and we drop to here, I can't enter. The risk to reward no longer works. I would be buying a lower low and potentially demand reversal. So that's kind of the issue. So at market open, I want it to bounce because if it bounces and then invalidates the bounce, I can be triggered in for this pivot down here. But if it doesn't do that, that's just going to kind of be unfortunate. Maybe I can play calls on the way up. Now, speaking of calls, when I hop down to the 1 minute, right when candle, right before the market open, I notice that this is a perfect double top on the NASDAQ, which is rare and very bullish. I'm very bullish for this to break. So we see I have some trades. If we end up dropping first, I'm going to be able to enter calls on whichever's stronger on the way back up in pursuit of this double top breaking. Or if we bounce first, I'll be able to enter puts if that bounce invalidates. So here's the first candle on market open. I got to enter calls. ES was obviously a lot stronger than NQ. Now I did have to enter half size because again, it's the first candle on the market open, and ES didn't get these, NQ didn't get these pivots, so it may want to come back down. But in my mind, ES is a hell of a lot stronger than NQ. So I'm bullish for NQ to get to up here. By the time NQ gets up here, I'm hoping that ES is roughly at this pivot up here. And I'm looking to add where I can. Well, unfortunately, ES flipped super weak during this candle. You can see NQ got all the way up almost to the price target. ES didn't budge a muscle, and then NQ came all the way back down. So didn't sell anything yet. This was concerning though because ES wasn't staying strong. The same thing goes on this candle here. NQ made a lower low, swept pivots beautifully while leaving that perfect double top intact. And it's putting in a huge buying wick. ES is not putting in a huge buying wick though. Right now, ES is just not being good. It's not being stronger. It's not being weaker. It's just doing whatever it wants. But because NQ swept the pivot with a bullish reversal candle, I did take my average down. I added my second half to this trade here-ish. Or not here. I added at the bottom. My average went to right here. And, my average was, I filled the 2.9. I think my average now was at 2.65. My average was somewhere around 2.75. And I'm not really happy with it, but if NQ does end up bouncing, it'll look a lot better. Well, NQ bounced, and unfortunately, ES is just not moving with NQ. NQ is way above the top of this red candle. ES is barely up here. I'm slightly green. So I pretty much sell most of the position. The second NQ, it's PT. Minus 2 contracts. You could see, if you zoom in, NQ perfectly hit PT. And I was quick to sell it because ES wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. It wasn't moving properly. I couldn't tell if it was stronger, if it was weaker. Something was off about it. I couldn't do it. So I sold most of this. I only got 14% gains, unfortunately. And by this candle closed, By the time this candle closed, I was back down to pretty much break even. And I sold my last couple of contracts at break even. So very small gain here to start the day, 14%. But I kind of have to sell because ES looks like it's flipping weaker again. We're sweeping higher highs. ES has this pivot below. And I need to make myself available because if we get one more red candle here, I'm able to enter a pretty solid put trade. And it's extremely likely, especially if during this red candle, ES remains weaker than NQ. So I have to make myself available for that. Unfortunately, after I sold, ES finally decided to magically flip strong and started running. So my 14% gains could have been a lot more, but as far as when I took profits and when I sold the last bit, perfect execution. If I had to do it again, I would do the exact same thing. But now here's the problem. I don't really have much that I can do right now. Because if we just kind of keep going up, I don't really have any nice PTs. Now I have some minor pivots along the way, but nothing crazy. I'm gonna need some kind of bullish consolidation or some kind of major strength divergence to enter. Or if we come back down, I'll be able to enter. Well, as you can see, ES is back to being weak for some reason. NQ is looking pretty strong. I'm liking KQ calls here. And I'm looking for some kind of bullish consolidation. I'm like, all right, if I get some kind of fractal cup and handle, something like this, I can take entry for maybe this pivot here. I can work with it. But then this candle comes along and NQ falls a lot harder than ES, and ES is back to being stronger, I guess. So yes, this makes me start thinking about calls. This isn't terrible for calls here. Just looking at the ES chart, that's an alarm. Just looking at the ES chart, it doesn't make it terrible for calls, but the problem is if you look at NQ, I don't have anything there. I mean, we're rejecting supply. It's not a green candle. That red candle hasn't invalidated yet. Nothing indicates to me right now that we're going to continue up, unfortunately. We definitely have a slowdown of a bearish momentum. ES is clearly bullish consolidation, but it's way too big of a risk. I can't enter, and we're not very high above this range here. We are not very high above it at all. It can easily just kind of break back into it, And again, keep in mind, if I enter here, my stop loss can be roughly here. Maybe my PT will be here and then here. But if I stop out of this trade, I'm going to have to enter puts. Right? That's a trade that I know I'm going to have to take. So if I enter this trade, it needs to be confident because I'm exposing myself to two potential losses. Because if I lose on this trade, obviously, I don't believe it's the likely outcome, but it can totally happen. If I lose on that trade, I'm going to have to enter a second trade. Am I willing to potentially take two losses right now? On this setup, no, I'm not, because I'm not confident at all. So that's just kind of the way I think. We did end up breaking to the upside, and now ES is at a higher high. I know NQ is going to try to go for this high, but maybe it'll get another oscillation. I'll get a better chance. And then this candle happens here. So I finally did enter. Pretty much I entered the first excuse that I could. Okay, so what I needed from NQ is I need a bullish consolidation here. I need something on this chart to indicate it's going to continue up at least to some of these pivots. And if I were to chart all these pivots, it would be like this one, this one, this one, this one. The top two are major pivots. These ones are fairly minor. This one's a little bit better because it has two tests. And then ES would be, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I need something on this chart to tell me NQ is going to get to here. Ish. Right now, ES is stronger than NQ. That's confirmed. If NQ's chart indicates to me that it's going to get to here, and ES is stronger than that, that's a good trade I can get in. But what do I need here? I need NQ to invalidate this most recent pullback to really improve the odds of this bull pennant breaking to the upside. Because as you guys know, I don't enter pattern breaks very often. I usually enter before the pattern breaks on purpose. And it'll look very likely to break to the upside if I get a green candle like this. So the second I got a green candle like this, I entered. Now keep in mind, ES has not gotten bullish consolidation yet, and you can see that it's kind of chopping up. So in my mind, even if I do enter SPX calls as a result of this NQ chart because it's stronger, I can easily put in a handle at any point. It's just extremely likely. I'd actually say there's a solid 70% chance that happens, right? Maybe 60. 60 to 70% chance that happens. But if I don't enter now, the 30 to 40% chance that it runs isn't worth it. Because I know that the odds of it just going up, period, whether it puts in a handle first or not, the odds are pretty high. If NQ gets this green candle, well, it did get this green candle. I did fill calls pretty much immediately when it happens. Right after I filled calls, though, NQ swept this high with a selling wick. So I did enter before NQ got this high. But unfortunately, I was hoping that it wouldn't get this high before the candle closes because now it swept the high. Now it's got a little selling wick and we got a little volume spike. Now we have a reason to go back down, which isn't a huge deal. It's kind of built into my hypothesis because I have to enter half size. Maybe it can catalyze that handle into happening. But realistically, I mean, I'm really only looking for this PT. I didn't expect to add this high. But as you can see, there's kind of a risk to reward issue there. So I'm thinking I'm going to average down. And when I average down, that's going to bring my risk to reward to where I want it. But that doesn't really happen right away. NQ, putting in signs of a pullback, you can spot a really nice rising wedge here in supply. I wouldn't say it's really nice, but it's definitely solid. It's definitely there. There you go. There's your fractal rising wedge, actually. So that's what I'm prepping for. Oops, did not mean to do that. Yeah, still being stronger, I like that. Still looks great. Great strength. I can't add, though. I'm not getting a pullback. ES gets this pivot, I don't trim a single thing. Because NQ has barely missed this minor pivot. I'm bullish for NQ to at least get here. And it's probably going to get the next one too, but at least get to this one. So I'm not taking any off until here. Plus, I'm light size. I'm only half size. I'm hoping that this pulls back so I can add my second half. So realistically, based on ES's strength, by the time NQ gets to that first pivot, ES should be somewhere up here, and that's going to be a much better risk to reward. Look at ES being super strong, not trimming a single thing until NQ gets that pivot. Oh, what do you know? A perfect double top again. Don't sell a single thing. Don't sell a single thing. It's not there yet. And now I don't plan on selling a single thing until this pivot. Which, it's pretty likely to pull back since then. Or before that, because we still haven't put in a handle. But now my hopes of averaging down are out the window. I'm stuck with half size. But keep in mind, I would do the same thing again. A slight majority of the time when you take a setup like that, especially with the way it was kind of chopping up, especially with NQ and supply, it's probably going to put in bullish consolidation. You know, if it's futures, you don't need to save half size because your contracts don't decay. But if price action consolidates after you enter 0-day contracts, that's going to hurt your theta and your IV a lot. But yeah, I didn't even sell on this candle either because I'm like, well, now I'm bullish for ES to get the all-time high. So I pretty much sold everything here. And I left a runner position for NQ to go where I want NQ to go. So I sold most here. Kept the runner position. And you can see that I didn't even sell here, actually. I needed it to get one more. This isn't a proper topping formation. So right when it swept this high, right here, I think. Yep, here. Boom, sold everything. Which is beautiful. 178% gains is what I sold at. 7.2. Now, looking back on those contracts, they ended up getting to 8.4. They got a decent amount higher up. But yeah, I sold that runner, that last bit, for a very large gain. And that was my day. So the unfortunate thing is, you know, at first SPX trade was pretty small because ES wasn't moving correctly. Very hard to predict, wasn't moving correctly at all. And I had to be half size on this trade. So even though I did end up selling for 178% gains on my runner position, I think I averaged 100% on this trade. A little over 100%. I think it was let me see. When it swept that high, Yeah, 103% is where I started trimming a bunch for. No, that's not true actually. It's roughly 120%. Um, yeah, I averaged somewhere around 130% on this trade. But the problem is I had to be half size, so I didn't actually make nearly as much as I wanted to, and the first trade was pretty small. I wish it was the other way. The first trade was half size, and this trade was full size, but that's just the way it played out. As far as psychology and execution, it was flawless today. Another day of just executing my edge, reacting to the market properly, proper risk management, all of those things. So I can't complain. And yeah, ended up being a pretty good day. You know, my pre-market sentiment was bearish, but only at least for the first pivots, and NQ got just that. You know, it got perfectly just that, swept it, and then played it. So very good day, very easy price action to read, except for the first like 5 minutes of market open. It was really rough. But yeah, really easy day, super quick, 2 trades, that's it. Does anyone have any questions regarding anything that we did? Kim Tran says can't hear again, but they left. That is weird. You guys can hear me, right? No one has any questions or anything? I feel like you guys would have told me by now. Sound is good. All right, sweet. We have a couple people typing. I will let you guys finish typing, and then that's pretty much it. You guys aren't going to hear from me pretty much at all for the rest of the day. Not doing the quiz today. I have to prepare for the big event in 4 days, so I will just be working on that. Yeah, glad you always show up, JBS. But all right, guys. So as per usual, I will let you guys know when this recording is posted to YouTube. If you can continue trading, good luck. If I'll just remove all my drawings, I don't care. Even though I had my high of day lines up. NQ looks pretty damn bullish for new high of day. It's a very easy trade to take if, first off, ES is way stronger than, ES is a long trade right now. That is a beautiful bull flag with a perfect double top. It's actually a descending broadening wedge. That is gorgeous, man. It's unfortunate that I'm not trading right now. Because really, I mean, I would take this trade. Maybe it stops out, but, you know, enter long or calls here. Depends on what you're trading. If this flag breaks out, NQ is going to be roughly here. By that time on NQ, I'd be triggered into bullish bias for new high of day, which would give me reason to hold my SPX calls or longs. So if you take and you lose money, you got hornswoggled because this is a great setup. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that. But all right, I'll let you guys go. You guys have a great rest of your day. If you guys are in this trade, good luck. It is a beautiful trade. If you lose to it, who cares? I would take the same trade tomorrow. And yeah, let me know if you guys need anything. Otherwise, I will give you guys updates on everything that I'm working on and talk to you guys later. Yes, mentorship meeting is still happening. Team in a row. And yeah, Lil Verge, yeah. Well, that's like a month away though. So I'll talk about that when it's time. But all right, I will see you guys later. Good luck if you're in this trade. And yeah, let me know if you guys need anything.